Javier Tebas is a good reference because he has the big picture of the industry. But I think that it depends on the club. But maybe in our case, we could recover earlier, maybe in 1 year. I think that the clubs have prepared and have been very prudent when building their P&Ls for next season. And it depends on how the virus behaves, depending on the country. But hopefully, in a year time, we'll be in the same numbers as last season. Well, first of all, the impact of COVID was something totally unexpected. Pandemic in the world, unfortunately, it doesn't happen every day. So nobody was prepared for this pandemic. And in terms of management, we had to focus on how to reduce the impact of the decrease of revenues in a football club. So all the clubs have worked through seeking new opportunities to generate new revenues, but also to reduce the impact of the decrease of revenues. How? Focusing on agreements with players, because we have to resize their contracts according to the new situation. Also dealing with partners, because we also had to think on compensation schemes, because we wouldn't be able to deliver the assets, and also to think about our fans, because they were also affected, because they wouldn't be attending to the games and being participating of this big show. So the clubs have also worked in different alternatives and compensation schemes for our fans. Well, the uncertainty is there. I think that everybody read the news, and it looks like in September, October, the virus could came back to our homes. But I think that everybody will be more prepared. I mean, not only organizations, governments, states, I mean also the people, because we have learned to behave different, and that's important to focus that kind of crisis. So not only people, not only governments, organizations, so people will be different facing this crisis. So then companies, clubs, players and stakeholders will be ready and open-minded, because it has changed our mindset. So I think that it will be different. Maybe it could come 5 years later, but I think that the world is now different, and maybe will be better facing this crisis. I think that everybody was essential for that moment, because we were managing a crisis. So I was meeting every day with the head of departments, because everybody was essential in that moment. Because in terms, as you said, communication was crucial in that moment. Not only external communication, also internal communication. Then also part of financing, of course, we were calculating the impact of the virus for our business and our industry. And then also part of marketing, because we had to think in creative alternatives to our fans and to our partners. And then human resources, because we had to take care of our staff as well. Well, I think it's important when you came from the scratch, when you start in a club that was in a bankruptcy situation. So the club has grown a lot in the last years, and I think that being in first division has permitted us to learn a lot of this big business. But also we have always remember where we come from and how we managed the club when it was so small. And well, this season we had the opportunity of having this parachute that La Liga has to the first time for the first season when you are relegated. So to manage and maintain the structure of the club. But now we are working in two scenarios, because we don't know if Girona will be playing first or second division next season. And as I said, we always work with two scenarios, first or second division, because we are a small club that will be fighting for promotion or relegation. So I think we have the expertise and we know how to resize the business, but it's always tough to reduce costs. It's always tough, it's difficult, but I think that we'll manage it. FIFA and UEFA built some work streams and work groups to find solutions to this new scenario. But with my expertise in La Liga, I think that we could have done better. I think that clubs sometimes only think on their own interest, because in La Liga, in first division, second division, the kind of clubs are very different size, different budgets, and different interests. I think that we have worked together to find solutions, but I think we could have done better. Not having an agreement with the salary reduction with players, it was difficult, because the players talk each other and said that club offers better conditions than yours. But I think that in our case, we have been very transparent with them, and we have shown the numbers, we have shown the impact. So it depends on the kind of revenue sources that you have and the weight that they have in your P&L. So it was difficult then to find a common solution, it's true, but I think that we could have done better. Well, first of all, I think that the first question will be when the fans will be able to come to the stadiums, because for us it's crucial, because as we have always said, fans are part of the show, and we need them back. So I think that the clubs must show and build that trust to them, because it's not only that we build and we show that the stadium is a COVID-free stadium that is safe. And we have to convince them and tell them that we need them, and we will deliver the safe that we have to have in the stadium. Our main worry was we have to finish the leagues, because if you don't finish the league, the TV rights the context of the TV rights would be damaged, because the broadcasters buy a competition, and if you don't finish a competition, or if you have to end a competition in the middle of the season, you won't have champions, and people are there watching games because they want to see if who wins or who loses. So for us was crucial. And then after this big effort and the protocols that we are following to finish the league has protect those contracts, it's true that the TV packages that are sold to the bars and restaurants have been damaged, because people weren't able to attend to the restaurants. But now I think that the situation is much better. Everybody will lose in this industry, but I think it's balanced now. We are working together with La Liga to build that protocol, because we need the fans back as soon as possible. So it's also important to build that trust to them, because we need to make things easy for them. So in our case, and I think that the clubs must be 100% digital, because this distance that the COVID has caused obliges the clubs to have a platform where the fans can make all the process to ask for tickets and to reserve their seats. We are working with that. We're working with different capacities according to the regulations, and I think that soon we will have the answer and we will explain it to the fans. In our case, it's very important, because last season was part of our revenues and the profit from player sales. This season, according to La Liga regulations, we have to begin with zero, so we cannot forecast any revenues from that part. But it's only because of a prudent measure. I mean, if you start selling players, of course you will be able to use that profit on your P&L and use it to sign new players. I think that the market won't be as damaged as we expected at the beginning. I think the things are coming better, the leagues are finishing, and finally the clubs will be able to sign players, maybe with a lower fees, but I think that the market won't be damaged as we expected at the beginning. Well, everybody has done a video conference for meetings, but we have also used that kind of platforms to do interviews and also to engage with fans and players. I think that this has come to stay with us, because it's a new reality, and the virtual platforms provide us a new and creative initiatives for our marketing departments. We have been able to create new content because as we didn't have games on TV, we had to be creative to create new contents to be close to our fans. We have done content with our physiotherapists, with our nutritionist, with our community manager, with our coach. Everybody has been participating in that because it was very important to engage with our fans because I mean, everybody was at home and everybody was looking for entertaining. The last news is worse than we expected because in March we thought that the law was going to be different and they would allow to the sponsorship of betting companies in Spain. But it looks like this will change and the new law will be more strict. I think it's a great damage for our industry because we have seen that most of the clubs in first division, their main sponsor is a betting company. I think that we have to protect the collective that are in a risk because of this business. But with other industries, we have seen what has happened. I mean, we have to be clear, we have to be transparent and explain how it works, and also to protect our kids about this. But I think that is a business that it works, and in other countries it was many years ago. And I think that we have to reconsider this because it will have a big impact on our economics.